morning, Papa ji.
Good morning, beta.
What are you doing, Papa ji?
Beta, just I was going through this Constitution of India, this replica which we have here. I thought just I was thinking what actually the Constitution of India about which people talks about a lot. I should have a look on this. But I read few pages of this Constitution of India replica. And the language is probably it requires some special knowledge of English language to understand it, because for a person like me or anybody for that matter who is common man who does not know understand those technical languages,
Mhm.
reading and understanding is not that easy. What I could infer, like I was going through this protection in respect of conviction for offences,
Mm.
the way he talks about the language is means this is a legal language. I
Yes.
hope so. Everyone, a common man, does not know what the legal language is.
Very true. Even I was going through the same document some days ago to study about it and to know about the articles that we talk about, because in recent time we have seen the abrogation of articles and some other information. The articles were in debate also, as we have seen in the news. So I just tried to study them to know more about them, but the way they were written in such a complicated and complex language, I literally first I had to write them again in a simple language to understand, so that I can recall them and memorize them and understand them. So it was not that easy for me also to understand, and I'm sure even for the other students and other commoners who are not in the field like law, it might have been very difficult for them to understand the constitution.
Because I was just going through few of these pages. Even if you translate it, the spirit of the text which is there in the Constitution, if you translate it in straightforward in English, to make it simple, probably it may lose its spirit also if you don't understand what actually the people have must have in their mind while writing this. So I think, in my personal opinion, it is very important and probably it would be very useful also for common man if some simplistic discussion or explanation could be made available. So, since you have been studying this as a subject,
Yes.
and there are many instances when I discussed with you also on certain things, if you could make some effort to explain this in, so I'm not saying that entire constitution, but the important thing which everyone must know, and especially the students, those who want to understand the Constitution of India, its important articles. Probably, if you, why don't you try to explain some of the things to for the sake of the people, those who would like to understand it, because this will create an interest among the people to at least have a look or give a reading to the Constitution.
True. And that's a brilliant idea. It will be helpful not only for common people but also for the students who are preparing for various examination like civils, judiciary,
Absolutely, absolutely.
and other examination which needs
True,
such
true.
detail. Because even when students go to coaching and other institute for the preparation, these are very minute detail, and
Yes.
it is not possible for them also to teach every article in detail
Very true.
to know more about them or to complete the syllabus. So I think that's a brilliant idea if we work upon it.
Because to understand something, if some base is there, at least some right things are discussed in right perspective,
Hmm.
then with a base understanding the Constitution, especially when I talk in this context, would be much easier for the readers. So I think you should take this initiative.
Yes, and definitely we will. And one more thing that I would like to add over here is, for the discussion and for the information that we will be giving, we will be relying on authentic sources and documents like
True.
the document, the replica published on the government websites, the reports released by the PIB, and the authentic documents from Niti Aayog and other government verified websites, so that we do not face any ambiguity and anonymity
True. Yes.
while
This
talking
is very
about
important.
the
Very
content.
important.
So, and we can hold ourselves accountable for the words
True.
that we have said.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's, if you could give some brief introductory aspect, what actually it is, and from there we can take this conversation
Sure.
and how can we plan.
Yeah, sure, we can. So, I think it will be better if we first start with what actually the Constitution of India is, because we have been saying constitution, constitution, and constitution from a longer period of time. But what actually this Constitution is? So, I think we should take forward the
Yes,
discussion
I
from
think that-
that very basic point.
Yes,
So, what
yes.
actually the Constitution is. So, shall we start?
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
So the Constitution of India is actually a document. Constitution word comes from the word to constitute, which means a set of rules, a book which contains some rule according to which an institution functions. Suppose a college is running. A college might have its own constitution, which simply means the rules on the basis of which the college runs. So constitution is basically a document that shapes India's sovereignty or any nation's sovereignty, integrity, and its democracy. It shows the aspiring voices of the independent nation. And the Constitution of India, it was adopted on 26th of December 1949. It came into existence. Like we celebrate Republic Day on 26th of January 1950. But when we talk about the adoption of Constitution, it was basically adopted on 26th of November. Sorry, I said December earlier. It's 26th of November 1949. So when we talk about the Constitution, the making process, there were various assemblies, there were various committees that were set up for the discussion, because it was a very important document. It was going to be very important document, because on the basis of which the whole nation was going to function, and it is functioning till today. So the most important assembly, which played a very important role in the formation of Constitution of India, was the Constituent Assembly. The Constituent Assembly initially had 389 members, out of which, if we refer to the authentic report published by the PIB in recent November and December month of the last year, so it said that 292 members were elected through the provincial assembly, and 93 represented the princely states, and 4 members represented the chief commissioners' provinces. However, the committee saw a split after the introduction of Mountbatten Plan, which led to the formation of a separate constituent assembly for Pakistan, which reduced its membership to 299 or something like that. So these members were indirectly elected. When we talk about the Constituent Assembly of India, they were indirectly elected through the recommendation of not Mountbatten, through Cabinet Missions Plan. So it was the Cabinet Mission Plan on the basis of which the members were indirectly elected. And the first inaugural session of the ceremony was kept on 9th December 1949, in which Sachidanand Sinha presided as the interim president of the session, and later on December 11th, 1946, Dr. Rajendra Prasad was...
In 1946.
1946. 1946, 9th of December 1946, the first session, in which Sachidanand Sinha presided as the interim president of the committee, and later on 11th of December 1946, Dr. Rajendra Prasad was officially declared as the permanent chairman or president.
Means the process is started a bit earlier than India got
Yes.
freedom.
Yes,
Okay.
yes. We got freedom in 1947, but all of these processes, they came into existence from 1946 onwards. So as we discussed, again, after the Mountbatten Plan, the membership was reduced to 299 members. Now, when these committees were being formed, the Constituent Assembly was formed, this was not the only task there present at that time, because we were clear that we want independence. At that time, the agriculture was collapsed, the industry is hampered, and we can say the administration of the nation was totally paralyzed. So this was not the only work with the government. So in order to carry forward all the works and to throw light and pay attention to every arena, there were various committees formed, like the drafting committee was formed. Some committees were chaired by Dr. B.R. Ambedkar, some were chaired by Dr. Rajendra Prasad, and other members also. And especially there were, when we talk about our Constituent Assembly, it was important also because it had women, female members in it, 15 female members, to voice about the equal rights of female, also not only on the national but also at the global level. And when we talk about the committees, the most important committee that comes over is the drafting committee. Drafting committee, which was chaired by. We will be discussing it again. But again, when we come back to the Constituent Assembly and we discuss how the drafting committee was formed, we can see on December 9th, 1946, the session was, it came into existence with the signing of Vande Mataram song, which symbolized India's unity, the unity of the people. And Acharya Kriplani, if I again refer to the document, Acharya Kriplani, he addressed the inaugural session, and the first day concluded with 207 members giving their credentials and signing the documents and giving their consent. The national flag was adopted on 22nd of July 1947 by the Constituent Assembly, and finally on 15th August 1947 we got independence. So as we know, the three colors which are present in the flag, the white denotes peace, the dharma is denoted by the chakra, green denotes fertility and growth, and saffron again denotes the strength.
So there are two important things. Normally people have that misconception that the Constitution of India, the process of framing Constitution of India would have been started post-independence. But in fact, in real, it started in 1946, about few months
Yes.
Earlier. And the second thing, the national flag was adopted also before independence
Yes.
in July
July.
1947.
22nd July
Yeah.
1947.
Okay.
And then gradually this led to the formation of the drafting committee, which introduced its first, its final draft of the constitution, which they made on November 4th, 1948. So the Constituent Assembly had a continuous 5 days discussion on the draft regarding what are the changes needed, what are the amendments needed, some discussion because of the misinterpretation, what can be the further issues in the articles that were given. So after the 5 days discussion, the discussion was concluded on November 9, 1948. This drafting committee came into existence again few days after independence, and that was 29th of August 1947, and it took 141 days to prepare the draft of the constitution, which initially had 315 articles and 8 schedules before the discussion. And the assembly spent 165 days in total on deliberations and discussions.
Getting feedback
Yes.
from others, from other assemblies, etc.
Yes. And out of these 165 days, 114 days was specifically devoted to the discussion of the drafting committee, the draft that the committee shared. And out of them, more than 7,000, near about 7,635, if we see, amendments was suggested by the Constituent Assembly.
In the initial draft.
Yes, in the final draft.
Means when final draft was submitted and people reviewed it and deliberated and discussed,
Yes,
so around 7,600
yes,
suggestions were given
Yes.
to include, update something or to remove something
Yes.
or to add something.
Yes.
That's 7,600
35.
plus.
Yeah. And the final constitution, it included 395 articles, which were divided into 22 parts and 8 schedules. And when the constitution was finally adopted, it was the lengthiest written constitution till now, which is also one of the criticism that our Indian constitution faced, that it is elephant size. We don't say it lengthiest, we say it elephant size, because of the length and the lengthiest document existing even till today. So the Constituent Assembly.
It means probably the drafting committee was given that responsibility to draft the constitution. Probably people were very visionary people, because they would have foresee certain things which other people might not have visualized, and probably that is the reason. More the cases, more the possibilities, more the things you anticipate, more you have to include it. And
Yes.
probably that is the reason why this constitution has become so lengthy. Huh?
Yes. And when we talk about the Constituent Assembly, again, it had its final meeting on January 24, 1950. On this day, 284 members signed the constitution, and Janagan Man, which we sing as the national anthem, was declared as the national anthem of India. And
On which date it was?
on January 24, 1950.
This or national anthem.
Yes. And Dr. Rajendra Prasad was named as the first president of India. So the Constituent Assembly, in short, took 2 years, 11 months, and 17 days to draft the Constitution of Independent India. And total 11 sessions were held, during which near about 53,000 visitors came to visitors gallery to visit the work being done, and the assembly having the discussions regarding the Constitution of India. And finally, the Constitution was adopted on 26th of November 1949 and came into force on 26th of January 1950. So this is one of the most important question we usually see in competitive exams and other exams also. What is the significance of the date 26? Because 26 January, 26 November, like all this.
Yes, yes.
And again, January 26, 1950 was marked as the Republic Day because of the country's transition to being a republic. And one of the most important thing that we see, unique thing that we see, that the Constitution of India was handwritten and later calligraphy crafted in both English as well as Hindi language, near about consisting of more than 80,000 words, near about 90,000 words. And Prem Bihari Narayan Raizada undertook the calligraphy of the original English version, which was done on Malbury loan paper, and later it was decorated. The Constitution of India was decorated by Nandlal Bose, who was a celebrated artist from Shanti Niketan. He decorated them, which had the important events right from the Indus Valley civilization to the day he designed the outlines and creativity for the Constitution of India. So his work included 22 illustrations, and the form of work was miniature style of painting. When we go to art and culture, we study about the different types of painting. So one of them is miniature style painting. So the Constitution definitely has some miniature styles of painting, and finally 12 years of efforts, more than 12 years of efforts and discussion, debate.
Absolutely. It must be a mammoth task.
Yes.
Because for a country of the size India, with such huge participation, the constitution has to be of elephant size.
Definitely.
So that's wonderful, because in brief, precisely, you have given a wonderful perspective and context to set the discussion further. Now, if we see the Constitution of India, I was going through the provisions. Apart from preamble, there are many chapters which include lots of articles, like the articles which are related to union and its territory, then article which is for citizenship, then for fundamental right, directive principle is state policy, then fundamental duties, the union, the states. These states in part B of first schedule, then union territories, panchayats, municipalities. Means it talks about every aspect of the
Yes.
as how this nation is going to govern, and we'll see how it move forward. So, in your opinion, what are, because now discussing around 395 articles of constitution of the constitution, and then other things also, probably it would be very lengthy and it will require lots of discussion.
Yes.
But from the reader's perspective, or a common man, like if I see myself, or people like me, those who are not in legal service, those who do not have understanding of those legal languages, in your opinion, what are those important articles which is related directly with the individuals?
Yes.
What are those articles? And we can think of taking those articles in, and I think in one video it will be too lengthy. So what
Yes.
we can do, because of interest of this topic and importance of this document, uh, I think if you can spare time, we can have discussion in a small time frame, uh, and we can share it also with others, those who have
Definitely.
interest in understanding this. So probably this will be a good service.
Yes, yes, definitely.
So, in your opinion, how many what are those articles which
Okay.
we can take it forward and we can have a discussion, a small discussion in few episodes,
Yes.
maybe.
So first, I think we should be starting with, or we should start with the very first part of the Constitution, which talks about uh, the Union territories, which talks about what are the ways or what are basically the rules in which one state can be made a part of the other state, because we have seen that what are the number of states right now? It's 26. What are, no, not right now, I'm not telling that, just giving an example, a hypothetical situation. Like right now it is 26, after 4 years it is 28, after some times we'll see it's 24, there was a time when we read it's 29. So the number keeps on changing. How can these numbers change when the area India has, that is limited? So how are we creating new states, or if we are creating, how are they named, on the basis of what rules and regulations, what we are following? So that is important to know. And one more interesting thing that we read in this is about Sikkim and how those territories and places became a part of India. So I think part one will be an important part. Then again, if we
From
talk
article 1 to 4.
1 to 4,
Okay. It talks about the union and its
and its
territory.
territories.
Yeah.
And other important part is of fundamental rights, which are related with every individual, because we are living in a nation. We should know what are our rights. If something
True.
wrong happens
True,
to us,
true.
how can we appeal it? How can we save ourselves? How can we protect ourselves? So we will talk about we can talk about fundamental rights. And then again, directive principles of state policies, they do form a very important part of the
Absolutely.
Constitution of India. We will be discussing about them. One article that has recently been in debate and discussion from past few years was Article 370, related to Kashmir. So we will be the special status, article of the special status. So we will be discussing about that. That will require a little long discussion, because we will be discussing what the issue was, how the clashes and the violence evolved, what were the reasons behind it. So we will be discussing about all them in detail, and how finally the articles was abrogated, and what were the problems that were seen, how they were solved. So we will go in little detailed discussion for that particular article. And other will be the miscellaneous articles, which we will be discussing. We can make a short video of maybe 30 minutes, where we will be discussing various articles which are for information basis, but they do not form a very important part of an individual's life. When we talk about the system, the running of the government and all, at that places they are important, but at certain point of time they do not have anything to do practically with the individual. So we will be taking them together, and the other important articles which are related to every person, them together. So a few episodes, maybe a series of 10 to 15 episodes, we will be covering all the articles.
So we will be starting with preamble.
Preamble, yes, we will be discussing.
Then
about the preamble.
we can take this the union and its territory
Yes.
and related articles.
Yes.
Then citizenship is something which is very
Yes,
important. That article 5 to 11.
Yes.
It talks about it. Then fundamental rights, which you mentioned. This cover article 12 to 35.
Yes.
The article which are of common interest and everyone should know. Then directive principles of a state policy you mentioned, which lies between 36 to 51 article. And then fundamental duties,
Yes.
which is mentioned in 51A.
Hmm.
So primarily we will be taking this.
Yes.
And then subsequently some important articles like you mentioned 370 or the process, the way
Yes.
like Sikkim was included in India,
Yes.
how it
That
happens.
will come in part
So,
one.
Part 1 it will come. And then some article which you may feel
Yes.
would be good for everyone to know
Yes.
in the interest of creating awareness.
Hmm.
So these things will be taken
Yes,
further.
like,
So
yes.
yeah, please.
Like Article 375 and 376, which played a very important role during the abrogation of Article 370. because according to
True.
them, the president got the power to interpret the other articles as per his or her own choice. Not choice, but yes.
Because now people about Article 370, everyone Article 370 has been abrogated,
Yes.
but actually the existing articles, how they facilitated to the legal team for interpretation, so that the Article 370 itself could be abrogated by using some other
Yes,
articles.
yes.
I think that is very interesting. That will be a very interesting discussion. So, I think today we have set the context,
Yes.
and I think on weekly basis we can come up with one
Yes.
topic from here, certain set of
Yes.
articles we can discuss, and then I think in next 8 to 10 episodes we will be covering this important aspects of Constitution, which will be useful for the common man, for the individuals to understand what our Constitution of India says. As a citizen, what we are expected to do, supposed to do, and what we have in the Constitution in store for all of us. What are our rights, and then at the same time, what are the fundamental duties being a citizen of this great nation. And the India has a geographia. Now, how the territories are how this entire territory is managed, means the governance is very important, and with so large geography, huge population, India is said to be a country where unity lies with diversity. Diversity in terms of religion, diversity in terms of language, diversity in terms of belief, diversity in terms of the way we live, diversity in terms of the way we eat, diversity in terms of the way we practice our belief, and there are lots of things. Means once Winston Churchill has said this, that if India become independent, it will not last as a country for a long time, because they have different kind of altogether. It start from the northeast and you travel to the south part. You will see every state appears to be a country where language is different, but still, in spite of all these diversities, the India is existing as one. So what those things which are acting to keep this country one in spite of all diversified things. So let's take a dive into these important articles and try to understand. So this will be useful not only to the readers, those who want to have this information for the sake of their interest, or to educate themselves, but I'm sure this is going to be helpful for those who are actually preparing for a number of competitive exams, also for their professional career also, if they want to have. So let's see how it goes, and I'm sure that all of us, those who will be part of this discussion, or as a reader or as an audience, and I think everyone will have something to take away. So thank you so much for this first introductory episode, and we will come soon with some discussion on some important articles from next episode onward. Thank you and good day.
Thank you.